Volleyball is thought to be a game played on the beach or at family events. Volleyball played at the competitive level, like most sports, is very intense. In the sport of volleyball, the average player can jump 36 to 60 times during the course of a match. These numbers can vary depending on position and the length of the game. Needless to say, jumping is a big part of the game of volleyball. The mechanics of jumping are a very big area of concern. Volleyball is an overly technical sport. Anytime an elite player makes contact with the ball, there is a footwork or a body shape that must be formed before that contact. Due to the fast pace of the game, these movements are practiced until they are formed into muscle memory. From the way a player serves the volleyball to how an offensive player approaches to the ball to hit it over the net, there is a technique. Jumping in volleyball is a technique, and when an athlete does not follow that, the likelihood of injury is greater. Ankle sprains, knee injury, ACL, MCL, and shoulder injuries are all very common in volleyball. Jump landing biomechanics change due to injury and can cause an athlete to completely change the way their body performs these athletic movements. The athlete's neuromuscular responses post-injury will be different because of the new neural pathways. In a previous article examining the overall differences between injured and non-injured jumping mechanics in women, it found in their controlled lab study that the neuromuscular activity between the women with ACL reconstruction have similar neuromuscular landing mechanics because the joint movements combined with the neuromuscular effects predispose them to future injuries. In broadening the idea of jumping, there's landing. The method a volleyball player or any athlete uses to jump is almost as important as the process used to land. In landing, an athlete will have an elevated landing force. Elevated landing force is the force of the athlete landing on the ground from a jump. In a research trial evaluating the effects of a coach-supervised intervention plan targeting the landing technique in relation to lower extremity injuries, it found that in programs with less funding, it was beneficial due to the lack of resources. Correct landing mechanics are essential to the overall movements required to play volleyball. This research article and study looks to answer the question of how a volleyball player's elevated landing force impacts their rate of injury.